not play sports against women. I'm not going to get into all the bullshit that's going on out here in the world today. If anybody think that, I think they're stupid. I'm not.
Front Office Sports reporting that neither ENES KANTER nor Royce White will be allowed to play in the WNBA. Really? Quote, the league is not going to give oxygen to efforts designed to mock the league or use this topic to demean and marginalize others.
On August 23, 2026, late in the third quarter, Natasha Cloud drove to the basket and scored, forcing Fever coach Stephanie White to call timeout. As players headed toward their benches, Cloud reportedly pointed and shouted toward ENES KANTER Freedom, who stood up near the court. Officials and security immediately intervened, while Cloud's teammates pulled her away. Freedom was then ejected and escorted from his courtside seat.
Adam should come out, and Kathy. I like both of them a lot. Women can there's no transgender people going to play in the WNBA. If you don't like it, kick rocks. We're not going to discuss it anymore.
Let's be precise about the sequence. Cloud scored and celebrated briefly before turning away from the game and moving toward the baseline. She reportedly left her bench area, approached the courtside spectator, and began shouting and pointing at him during the timeout.
Washed basketball player ENES KANTER, who wants to join the WNBA as a man, showed up to a WNBA game tonight and got into it with some of the players and then got kicked out of the arena. He's a total loser.
I'll explain to you why they went up to ENES KANTER like that, and KANTER actually didn't even start it. So Harry Sisson, I don't know what your grievance is with this guy. He's just trying to make a point that, you know, men shouldn't be in women's sports. Also, hit that follow button if you like seeing Harry Sisson being destroyed on a daily basis, because I upload a video about him basically every day. If this guy played in the WNBA, he would average like 80 points a game, 30 rebounds a game, and 0 assists, because he wouldn't have to pass the ball ever. That's why he would have 0 assists. And this was the shirt he was wearing. I'm not going to say it. You can read it for yourself. It's pretty common sense to me. Oh, ENES KANTER got interviewed after the game, and he said that girl was coming up to him saying that Sophie will not F you. She was saying that she will not F you because ENES KANTER was cheering every time Sophie hit a three. ENES KANTER is literally sticking up for all these female basketball players, and they're mad at him. Women don't know what's good for them. He's literally helping them. He says men shouldn't be in women's sports, and women are basically saying, sure, like, we don't believe that. Anyone should be able to play in the WNBA. But then why can't ENES play in the WNBA?
Cloud reportedly confronted a spectator during a live timeout, and the official eventually ejected the fan. Freedom had been sitting along the baseline wearing a black shirt displaying a dictionary definition of the word woman. According to the account, the shirt became the focus of the confrontation.
The WNBA is for women. And listen, this is the last time we're going to discuss it. We're not going to turn it over to the fools on the internet. We're not going to turn it over to Congress and things like that. The WNBA is for women only.
The shirt showed a dictionary definition of woman, and Cloud reportedly left the bench to confront Freedom. He later claimed on social media that he had been ejected from a WNBA game while supporting women. He had been sitting courtside before security escorted him away.
Literally out there, I mean, I'm a huge fan of basketball, a huge fan of women's basketball, and I was there to watch the game, and I was really excited because I'm a huge fan of the Fevers. And so I was just literally just there to just watch the game. And then first half went amazing. I was having so much fun with my friends and stuff. And then it was towards the end of the third quarter. And Sophie Cunningham shot a three. And I put my hands up to celebrate, right? Literally a couple position later, Natasha came back and started screaming and yelling and said, she's not going to sleep with you. And I was like, I am not trying to sleep with her. I'm just here to protect women and support her. And then obviously after that, she started yapping and she started to walk towards me. And literally I just got up and then I was like, I'm just here to protect women and that's all, right? And then she started to yell. She started to use some very heavy language. She started to actually cuss. And I was very shocked that there were a lot of kids and there were a lot of teenagers was at that game. And I just cannot believe that she was just cussing and using those F-bombs in front of all these kids. And that is not, I mean, I'm sure like she's loved in Chicago and many kids and idolizing her and stuff, but that's not a WNBA athlete should react, you know? And then anyway, and then after that, the security guy, came, and then I was like, listen, you need to leave. I was like, can you please tell me why do I need to leave? They said, look, you just need to leave. And then they literally, I don't want to say they dragged me, but like they pretty much like pushed me to leave the gym. And then after that, I had a conversation with the police officers, which I respect a lot. I was like, listen, I was just there to protect.
Cloud approached Freedom, who was ejected while she remained in the game. But the controversy reportedly began before tip-off. Freedom was involved in a tense scene outside the arena, where protesters confronted him, and security formed a protective shield around the former NBA center.
Bitch ass nigga. Bitch ass out of Chicago.
I'm not touching him. I'm just saying, fuck you, bitch.
You was sorry in the league. You was sorry in the league. Sorry ass. You was sorry in the league. You was sorry in the league. You wouldn't even do good in this league. You sorry ass. Sorry. No, you ain't good. You ain't good here. You ain't good here. You got the police with you. Man, you a kid.
One spectator reportedly made an offensive gesture while another shouted at Freedom. He later posted video of the confrontation online, claiming he was being attacked before the WNBA game in Chicago. The footage quickly became another part of the growing controversy.
Scores 113 points and sitting courtside, a former NBA center who wants to enter the WNBA draft next season. Yeah, arguing with a Chicago Sky player before being kicked out. But this is no longer an isolated incident. Everywhere the Fever travel, the controversy surrounding Sophie Cunningham's comments seems to follow them. There have been rallies and counter-protests in Seattle, in Portland, in Minnesota, in Chicago, in New York. Sophie has been booed, fans have been confronted, and now the controversy has moved from outside the arena to courtside. The WNBA keeps saying it wants everyone to focus on basketball. Clarify your...
The spectator wearing the dictionary definition shirt was reportedly confronted outside the arena before the game. Security formed a shield around him as a crowd gathered. After entering and taking his courtside seat, Freedom later became involved in another confrontation when Cloud reportedly approached him during a timeout.
Lame as fuck. Sorry, mama. And most of these occasions, it's men. And I want you to know that is the gayest thing that you can do, is to go to a store, a sex shop, buy a dildo, come to a women's game to throw the dildo on the court. That is the gayest I've ever heard. So the men that are throwing it, it also shows that you are weak, like extremely weak. And it says a lot about how you feel about women, but we don't care. It's a disruption of the game. Y'all lame as to us, y'all gay to us, and we see it. So keep throwing them if you just want to keep telling us you're gay.
Critics say the controversy reflects the increasingly tense environment surrounding the WNBA's eligibility debate. Protesters gathered outside while a player reportedly confronted a spectator inside the arena. The official ejected the fan, creating another wave of criticism over how the incident was handled.
Could this culminate in you actually playing in the WNBA?
It better. Why wouldn't they let me play? It's completely bigoted to deny my trans existence.
After the Fever reportedly defeated the Sky 113-90, Natasha Cloud did not speak with reporters. The player, who had reportedly approached a courtside spectator during the timeout, declined to address the confrontation afterward. Fans instead continued debating why the spectator was removed while Cloud remained in the game.
Cunningham, otherwise known as MAGA Barbie in the WNBA, is a superstar player. She's one of the most famous female athletes in the world because she stood up for women in women's sports, saying only biological women should be allowed to play in the WNBA. And for that, she is literally risking her life. Check this out. This is what happened to Sophie Cunningham last night when she was clotheslined by a filthy, dirty player for Chicago who has a name that I can't pronounce, or maybe I just refuse to do that. That's my right as an American. But this is a player that has attacked Caitlin Clark, gouged her eye out, that has now bloodied the face of Sophie Cunningham, and as soon as she did this, she tweeted white privilege, meaning she's declaring this is a race crime. Now, if a white woman was doing this to black women, it'd be the #1 story in the world, she'd be banned from the league forever. But somehow black women are allowed to get away with this against white women. And it's white women in the league who make themselves a target by simply standing up for traditional values and common sense.
Cloud later posted a social media statement focused on supporting transgender people rather than discussing the confrontation. She emphasized inclusion, belonging, and protection. The message quickly became part of the larger debate because it did not directly explain why she had reportedly approached the Spectator.
Sparks head coach Stephanie White, well, she didn't want biological men kicked out of women's sports, and she made that pretty clear.
I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint. I don't ever believe that exclusion is an answer. I just don't. I do think, when we think about various levels of sport, various governing bodies of sport and things that go into that, like I said, I'm not educated enough at the different levels. I know growing up, I played with the boys all the time.
Cloud's statement did not explain why she reportedly left the bench during the timeout. It also did not directly address the confrontation with the Spectator. That silence became another major talking point as fans questioned whether the incident should have been addressed after the game.
I talked to Natasha. I know that she was, I talked to the team and, Tasha didn't want to feel like she was a distraction. I told her she wasn't. I told her that we all embrace her as someone that protects our team and protects people that need to be protected. And so Tasha's always going to stand on that, and we stand for Tasha. So
Cloud's message focused on transgender youth and inclusion, while Freedom was reportedly ejected from the arena. The WNBA had not immediately announced discipline involving Cloud, leaving fans questioning whether the league would investigate the incident or explain its decision.
Two little girls who play sports, who play soccer, they're young, and I see how much hard work they put into their sport, and only to have a boy or a man who they're biologically built different to come in and just play better and take your spot. Look, if you want to play in a trans league, go ahead, but not in girls' sports. Don't try to erase women and girls.
One commentator argued that parents of young female athletes deserve clear eligibility rules. He raised concerns about protecting opportunities in women's sports while calling for consistent policies. Meanwhile, Sky coach Tyler Marsh reportedly said Cloud did not want to become a distraction, despite the confrontation during the timeout.
100th plus in the world competing as a male, transitions to female, and he was number one. If we're gonna act like transitioning from male to female doesn't involve an advantage for that trans athlete, I have nothing to say to you. You're not exercising common sense.
Charles Barkley has made similar arguments since Sophie Cunningham's comments several months ago. He believes the WNBA needs clearer rules and must take responsibility for the controversy. Barkley has repeatedly argued that avoiding the issue only allows the debate to become more divisive.
I'm never going to think it's all right for men to play sports against women. I don't even think that's controversial. That's the thing that's funny. Like some of this stuff make, like when you see these debates on television, like, yeah, men shouldn't play sports against women. I'm done. I don't want to hear you try to explain it to me. No, I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to argue with you. Men shouldn't play sports against women. I'm done. There's a lot of we can argue over. That ain't.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin.
Critics have pointed to the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement, arguing that its eligibility language is not detailed enough. They say the league allowed the transgender debate to continue for months without establishing a clear policy. Pressure is now growing for league officials to provide consistent rules.
Women are 51% of the population. We need to start acting like it. Boycott the WNBA. They don't know what a woman is. They don't know how to protect women in girls' sports in the WNBA. The W that stands for woman, not trans, that starts with a T. Woman. Y'all don't know what that is? Boycott them. Our girls deserve fairness in their sports and in the locker room. And I'm just having it really up to here with the WNBA and the cowardice. And every fucking WNBA player that says, oh, I don't mind a trans on a team with me, you're fucking lying. You haven't had it. You haven't experienced having a male in the locker room with you. I have. It is fucking demeaning. It crosses our boundaries. It disregards our privacy and what we actually want as women. Fuck the WNBA and any other sports league that allows men to play with women.
Critics also mentioned the backlash Sophie Cunningham reportedly faced after discussing league rules. They compared it with other player controversies that resulted in discipline. Now, after Cloud allegedly left the bench to confront a spectator, critics are again questioning whether conduct standards are being applied consistently.
In the Indiana Fever getting into it again, these two teams clearly don't like one another. And then to my surprise, it's ENES KANTER. That's who Natasha Cloud was fired up about. That's who she was getting into it with. I'm so done with all of this, you guys. How hard is it to just leave the girls alone? Just like just leave them alone. How hard is it? Leave them alone. Just leave them alone. But now that I have your attention, it was actually a really good game tonight. Caitlin Clark had 37 points, 10 assists. This is now her 5th time getting 30 points and 10 assists in her career. That's more than the entire WNBA combined. On top of that, she had 8 threes on the night, which ties the franchise record. Kelsey Mitchell also had another 30 balls. She was a plus 28 on the night. Natasha Cloud also had a great night. She had 16 points and 7 assists. The Indiana Fever got it done 113-90. And it was a clean game. Like, there's history between these two teams. I was scared something was going to pop off. I didn't think something was going to pop off between one of the players and ENES KANTER. Please, just leave.
Barkley has said he supports gay and transgender communities while believing women's sports should have specific competitive protections. He argues the WNBA helped create the current controversy by failing to establish clearer eligibility rules. With protests outside arenas and heated incidents inside games, pressure on the league continues to grow.
I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. There is a thing called white privilege. There is a thing called tall privilege. And we have to acknowledge that. And so the part of it is about race, because if you think about the Brittany Griners of the world, you know, why did she have to go to play in Russia?
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay. Not pushing.
You know, but I'm rooting for Caitlin because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before. I hope she kills. I hope Aaliyah Boston does amazing. And we have grown-ass men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen. That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is, and I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her shoulder.
The reaction spread quickly across social media as fans debated the reported confrontation between Cloud and the courtside spectator. Cloud reportedly approached the fan during a timeout, while the spectator was ejected. Critics questioned why she remained in the game and whether conduct rules were applied fairly. The Fever reportedly defeated the Sky 113-90, with Caitlin Clark recording 24 points and 12 assists. But the confrontation became the main story surrounding the game. Fans are now asking whether the WNBA needs clearer conduct and eligibility policies. Was the situation handled fairly? Share your thoughts in the comments.